Hello, beautiful humans, and welcome to the Mental Wellness Wake Up Show, a weekly podcast where growth minded, creative people come to learn best practices from both spirituality and psychology that create lasting well being. I am your host, mental wellness expert, improvised acting teacher, therapist, and coach, Dawn McMillan. Let's get to it. Hello, friends. A little disclaimer today. The flu virus has come to visit in my home. I feel okay, but I think you can hear it in my voice. So if you're willing to bear with me, let's get going. So, what I want to talk about today is this idea that when the student is ready, the teacher will come. I ran across the work of Ken Wilbur, who's a philosopher, years and years ago. And I remember reading his work and being completely unable to relate to it. It's like lines and levels and quadrants and all of these shorthands. And I just thought it was gobbledygook, couldn't access it at all. And at the time, I was really deeply interested in philosophical inquiry, as I continue to be. So I thought it was weird. I thought it was weird that I just couldn't figure this out, especially when so many other philosophers and thinkers that I respect were like, oh, this guy's a genius. I'm like, this guy is boring. Well, fast forward to, now, and I engaged with his work, and this guy's a genius. So what's interesting about Ken Wilbur, there are many interesting things about Ken Wilbur, but for our purposes today, as I am the student who is ready for this particular teacher, is the way that he talks about waking up, growing up, cleaning up, and showing up. And those are four different things. And in his work, he talks about different religions, spiritualities, psychologies, philosophies, theories, some of which address each one of those, but very few address all of them. And he also speaks about how you can be very far along in one of those areas and still be stunted in another. So waking up is about discovering the observer within yourself. It's what the Eastern religions are pointing at when they speak of enlightenment or finding nirvana, or what the Christian mystics are pointing at with their engagement with the divine. Or if you read someone like Rumi or Hafiz, who are Sufi poets, they're directly pointing at the experience of waking up. Growing up is different. Growing up is about successfully navigating the various lifespans, the various challenges across the lifespan to become an emotionally mature adult. So, with just those two parts, you can already see that it could be possible to have a transcendent experience of waking up. And some people are using psychedelics to do that. So, they will go to South America, they will engage with a shaman. They will have an incredible waking up experience, but it's quite possible that as a person, they're still in their adolescent stage of development. They still haven't grown up. And I think that could explain why some people are not having great experiences with using psychedelics for transcendence, because perhaps they haven't done the work of growing up. But I get ahead of myself. So waking up is about beginning to transcend the notion of the binary, is about, and this is where we get to cleaning up. And cleaning up, as a therapist, cleaning up is my bread and butter. That is a lot of what therapists do for clients, is the cleaning up. That is engaging with the shadow material. That is confronting the aspects of ourselves that we have denied and reject. That is forgiving those people who have harmed us after properly getting mad at them and processing it, because carrying around that poison is poisoning us. Cleaning up is a lot of the work of therapy. It's recognizing that those things that you hate in other people are those things that you first hated in yourself. And then there's showing up. And showing up is about transcending and including everything. It's about doing the work. It's about taking the wisdom where you find it. It's about doing the growing up, the waking up, and the cleaning up. Showing up is being fully present to all of it, all of the terrible beauty that is being a person alive in a body on the planet. The reason why I think this is so resonant for me now is as I'm doing my own cleaning up and as I'm endeavoring to be of assistance to my clients to do their cleaning up, I had begun to wonder kind of what I've been missing. And I think that it's the waking up and the growing up for those people who are very much materialists, who don't believe that there's anything beyond the material world, that everything can be explained by science either now or eventually. The notion of waking up is kind of unavailable, or it can be unavailable, that transcending isn't possible because there's nothing to transcend with or transcend to. And so I think for some people, doing the cleaning up and the growing up can feel a little bit dissatisfying because there's a certain point of arrival where there's still a little bit of that disconnection. There's still a little bit of malaise, of that existential angst that, oh, is this all that there is? It's similar to people who work very, very hard to get all of the prizes that the world conveys, right? And then you're like, okay, now what? So part of my inquiry really is, for those of us who do believe in a spiritual path, I'm so sorry, between my voice and Bertram's grunty old manness, it's a noisy recording today. I hope you will bear with me. So for those of us who do believe that there is something that transcends the material universe, I think we can make the mistake of getting all caught up in waking up that we forget to grow up. We forget to grow up. I think that might be what spiritual bypassing is, right? So rather than learning how to set a healthy boundary, confronting the trauma of the first 10 years of my life, reconciling with my estranged mother, or choosing not to reconcile with my estranged mother and making peace with that, we don't do the growing up or even sometimes the cleaning up. We just want to do the waking up and skip over all of that. You know, we want to go on our Vipassana meditations and take our mushrooms and be like, I am one with the universe. But it's necessary, but not sufficient. Just as growing up, in my point of view, if my atheist friends are like, Dawn, you're on crack, that's okay. Just as I believe that growing up is necessary, but not sufficient. That having a sense of connectedness to something other than yourself is deeply important. It's one of the reasons why I think we sometimes become addicted to attention from other people. It's because we are longing for a sense of connection sometimes. So I think Ken Wilbur's onto something when he talks about that we need to wake up and grow up so that we can fully show up. I don't know if you've ever been in the presence of someone who's just really, really there, someone who's been doing the work, someone who is both waking up and growing up. When they show up for you, it's like a wave of warm light just cascades over your body and makes you feel at peace. I've heard that the Dalai Lama, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, has that effect on people. There's a Christian mystic whose name escapes me, that a friend of mine met, who said that she had that experience, that this person was just so fully in their themselves and so fully present that it's impossible to be around them without catching some of that fully presentness. Reverend Michael Beckwith does that sometimes. I've been in his presence several times, and it's not always. I think it's when he's on, because he's just preaching, or, you know, he's doing whatever it is that he's doing. It doesn't always happen. But there are times when he's one of those people, you're just around him, and there's just something that's like your soul opens up and relaxes. I've always aspired to be one of those people. I think I have more growing up and waking up and showing up and cleaning up to do before that happens. But what I want to invite you to consider is, are you working in all four of those arenas? Are you cleaning up? Cleaning up requires courage. It means really looking at the things that disturb your peace and asking yourself, how is that me? How is that me? If something disturbs your peace, it's because there's a part of you that recognizes yourself in it. There are things that we can acknowledge in other people, right? So we can recognize that Boko Haram kidnapping innocent children is terrible and sad, and we can be upset about it. But if it deeply gets under our skin and causes us to grit our teeth and rage and lose ourselves, it's time for us to take a look in the mirror and say, how am I? How am I a terrorist? What parts of me do I judge as being a terrorist? That's where the cleaning up comes. We start to look through our experiences and we say, what parts of me have I rejected because I view them as a terrorist? For some of us, that looks like the parts of us that have strong feelings. Excuse me. A lot of people have alienated their anger, especially women and girls, or people assigned female at birth. Or, I don't know, people from Minnesota who are taught you have to be nice. Canadians, maybe? Okay, now I'm being stereotypical because it's funny to me. But a lot of us who have grown up in cultures or families where strong emotions are not welcome, we alienate them. We reject them. We consider our own anger a terrorist in our own being. Or maybe we grew up with a rager and we don't want to be like them. So we alienate our terrorism, our inner terrorism, because we're judging that part of us is unacceptable. And so whenever we encounter something in the external world that resonates with that, it will get under our skin and disturb us in a way that does not make sense. We have to clean up and grow up. Mature adults don't throw temper tantrums. Are you a full adult? I sometimes have these images when I'm working with really, really traumatized people that you can almost see. You can almost see how old they were when they had one of their first or most disturbing traumas, because that stage of development shows up whenever they're under pressure. You know, have you ever seen someone and you're like, wow, that person's acting like a 3-year-old? Yeah, they are. They are, because that part of them that got stuck in that trauma or that situation or that got rejected for whatever reason still needs to be invited to grow up. That's one of the things that parts work does, inner child work does, TFT, all of the trauma processes essentially help us clean up by confronting and integrating those parts of us that are unacceptable, either because they're in too much pain or because we're afraid of the pain they might cause ourselves or others. Any part of us that we have rejected is part of the cleaning up. And it's hard to grow up without cleaning up because we're still stuck. We're stuck in our traumas and our alienation from ourselves. So we need to clean up, sometimes consistently. I don't know which step it is in the 12 step, but you have to do an inventory, some kind of a fearless inventory, where every day during your recovery, you go, okay, is there something for which I need to make amends today? So that you don't continue to accumulate those bricks in the wall of your own oppression. So, can you fully show up without cleaning up and growing up? I'm not sure that you can. I'm not sure that we can. So, I would like to address the more problematic waking up. I'd really love to hear from those of you who are not spiritual about what gives you a sense of awe or connectedness. I have a friend who is an astronomer takes beautiful pictures of space. And I think that's one way. I think connecting to the immense or the tiny can be very much a sense of what spiritual people find in spiritual pursuits. There's a lot of work coming out of psychology today about awe, AWE, the experience of awe, and how that's so good for us psychologically. You walk into an old growth forest and you feel the immense history of those trees that have been alive through wars and cultures and who have just had experiences that we can't even fathom. Or you dive beneath the ocean and you see how deep it is. Or you see those deep sea creatures who are so weird. Or you look at space and you see the vastness. Or you look at a subatomic particle and they do all this weird stuff that we can't even grasp. I think the sense of awe about the exquisite beauty of the natural world and our scientific inquiry into it, I think can be the path to waking up if a spiritual point of view doesn't make sense to you. I think about some of the experiences of awe that I have had. I'm particularly prone to digging trees. Not digging. I should remember not English isn't everyone's first language. Appreciating trees. I remember we were in some botanical garden in Florida when I was a kid, and there was this tree that was so fat. I don't even know how many feet around because I was a kid. I don't know how many feet around it was, but it looked like it was a gazillion feet round and a million feet tall. And I remember just leaning up and putting my face against the bark of the tree and wrapping my arms around it and just losing myself in the energy of just the life of this tree. It was astonishing, absolutely astonishing. And when I went to the redwoods, I felt transported, absolutely transported out of time and space. So I share that with you to invite you to explore your own experiences of awe. And if you have a spiritual practice, to deepen it. You can't think your way into transcendence. And maybe you can skip ahead if you have a really good shamanic guide and you go use your psychedelics. Sometimes you can skip ahead. You can do a quantum leap. I don't think there's any substitute for doing the work ultimately if you want to maintain it and you want to keep going. So to sum up, we are here to wake up, to grow up, to clean up, and to show up. So to wake up, go find awe. Look at a sunset. Watch a fish or an anthill. Go to a cathedral. Climb a tree. Find that experience of awe that transcends the day-to-day, the quotidian struggle, and experience the invitation to wake up. Grow up. Grow up. Do the work. Go to your therapist. It's time to grow up. The world needs us to. We can't behave like selfish children anymore. We all have to take a bigger picture view because we're all in this together on this little blue marble floating through space. And we need to grow up in order to collaborate on creating a world that works. And you got to clean up. You just do. You can't skip it. You can keep stuffing that stuff down, but I guarantee you it is coming out. You are revealing it to others and to yourself, and it's coming out sideways. So might as well face it head on and feel better about yourself in the world and do the world a favor. And throughout all of it, you can show up. You can do your very, very best to be fully present to what is. The past and the future are imaginary. The only thing that's real, the only thing that's true is right here, right now. And right here, right now, you are an astonishing creation. You are awe-inspiring. Have you just checked out all the stuff your body does for you while you're sleeping? How astonishing is that? You're amazing. And you are whole. You are perfect. You are complete. You are worthy and deserving of all good things, no matter what stage of waking up, showing up, growing up, or cleaning up you find yourself. So here's wishing you a beautiful, beautiful week and miracles and magic and delightful surprises. Until next time. I am so honored that you share time with me. If you've listened this far, then something here was of value to you. Would you please be a friend of the podcast and share it with at least one other person? The podcast is available on most platforms, including YouTube, and I need your help to get the word out. So please like, subscribe, and share, and a 5-star review on iTunes would be chef's kiss. Thank you so much. See you next time.